Hi, I'm Brooke, and today I have David here to talk to us about his carnivore journey. Hi, David.
Hi, Brooke. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. And thank you for taking the time to share your experience on the carnivore diet.
I'm glad to do it.
Looks like a beautiful day where you're at.
It is a beautiful day here in Greer, South Carolina. It's maybe
Nice,
one of the last warm days we'll get this fall. I don't know.
nice. So what brought you to this meaty diet?
Well, it's kind of a long, drawn-out story. I'll try to condense. Basically, I was living the typical American life, eating whatever I felt like for years. When I hit college, I quit running all day when I was played soccer and basketball through high school and stayed pretty fit. But I hit college and instantly gained about 30 pounds. Stopped exercising so much and kept eating the same way. Pretty much stayed gaining weight consistently for the next 20 years or so.
Yeah, so you put on some weight. Did you have some health issues?
Well, eventually they started coming up. I mean, as I went through a married life, my wife had far more problems than I did, but I was fat, of course, and fat has all kinds of things associated with it. Couldn't move well, and I have a job that is pretty physically intense, and so not being able to move well was not good. I had certainly problems with digestion issues, IBS, and I'm starting to get aches and pains in my joints. You know, my knees were hurting, and various other things. Other than that, I mean, I've always considered myself a fairly healthy person. I didn't have lots of problems. I just was not feeling well. And I guess I started seeing a doctor regularly, regular checkups, and my triglycerides were quite high, and cholesterol was quite high, and he told me I was probably pre-diabetic, and that did not sound real good. So, you know, made changes there. I think we went to the beach one year, and we looked at pictures when we came back and just realized that we were really fat and needed to do something about it. So that's when we started getting really serious looking at what we ate and we did. And my wife had a number of issues with hormone imbalances and things she was trying to figure out. And so we started trying all kinds of healthy ways of eating. We did, I got involved with the green smoothie girl and started doing green smoothies for a while. That's just one of the most terrible ideas ever conceived, I think. The idea that you chop up a bunch of veggies to make them palatable. never really worked, but we did it for several months and did lose some weight for sure, but I can't say that we're happy.
Yeah.
And then the one thing, we tried a bunch of different diets, and my wife could hold out for about 30 days maybe, but she would eventually give in to a craving. And when she wanted a burger or wanted some candy, I eventually gave in to her, and then it was all over. And so we pretty much gave up healthy eating and just went back to eating the way we'd always eaten. And never really lost weight or felt better. Kept trying different things. Finally, I guess what really brought me to the crux is that my wife passed away unexpectedly about 2.5 years ago, and really threw me for a loop.
Sorry.
And that caused me to seriously evaluate where I was. And, knew that I would probably want to be married again, because it's not any fun living on your own when you've experienced the joys of married life. And I knew that my chances of finding the type of woman I wanted would be far greatly enhanced if I were not overweight. I knew I was old and fat. I figured I couldn't do much about being old, but maybe I could do something about being fat. So I started seriously looking into how to lose weight, because everybody knows how to lose weight. You just eat less and move more. So I started doing that. I ate less and I moved more. I started exercising religiously every morning, get up at 4 o'clock to do a half-hour workout. Was cutting my meal sizes way down and trying to eat healthy. And that lost a little bit of weight. I mean, I dropped maybe 5-10 pounds, was feeling a little better, but then it just stopped. And no matter what I did, it didn't do any better than that.
Yeah.
And so I started trying different diet plans. When Facebook finds out you're trying to lose weight, you get bombarded by ads for every kind of weight loss plan out there.
Yes.
And so I tried all kinds of different things, carb shifting diets, and this thing called Noom, where they try to change your behavior toward food, and started eating a bunch of grapes every week.
Great. Haven't heard of that one. Grape diet. That's a new one for me.
But it wasn't really a grape diet. It's just grapes are one of the things I could eat that were sweet, so I ended up eating a lot of them. And so it's not really a diet. It's just it's an app that tells you how to eat theoretically, and it's supposed to help you change your habits. But at the same time, I had a lot of free time on my hands, and I really started researching food and diet. I started first, found Nina. Nope. Anyway, I started first learning about fats. Found out that fats, Nina Teicholz, I think, who wrote The Big Fat Surprise, and found some of her videos on YouTube. And that YouTube's really good about all the related videos. And that led me to Gary Taubes, and then eventually into the low-carb diet space, and all the low-carb doctors and low-carb down under and all these things. At the same time, I was trying to do self-development and trying to become a better person than I had been, and I was listening to a lot of Jordan Peterson lectures.
Yes.
And eventually came to the part where he talked about, found out he was only eating meat, basically, and learned about his daughter, and listened to everything I could from her. And then came across lots of people. Joe Rogan interviewed a bunch of carnivores. Dr. ShawnBaker on Joe Rogan. And at that time, I was really to the point where I needed to try this for at least 30 days. And I think I've been trying all these other diets, and even though this one sounds really weird and really against everything I've ever heard, I should at least try it for 30 days too. Besides, who doesn't like to eat meat, right? So
Yeah.
30 days shouldn't hurt me. So I did. I had read up on all the things it's going to do. You're going to have transitions, and it's going to be a rough couple of weeks starting over. But I said, okay, I finished, had a business trip in the middle of June, and I finished that up after everybody there told me I was crazy to think about eating just meat. But I came back home from that, and I just quit eating anything but meat. And I started buying bacon and steaks and other things and just eating nothing but meat.
How'd that feel?
It was a little bit weird at the beginning. I'd been on the Zeroing in Health Facebook page, and I'd read that religiously, and I really liked the concept of the diet because it was the first time somebody wasn't trying to sell me something to teach me how to eat and lose weight. It's the first thing. I mean, I don't think there's anybody out there that will tell you, here's a secret to lose weight, and not ask you for money to find out what the secret actually was.
Yeah.
But carnivore diet is real simple. Eat meat and drink water. And that's it. And pretty simple. So I started doing that. And it was difficult. First week or two were a little hard because I hadn't there are so many things in your mind, so many things that are ingrained in you. You have to change a lot of your thinking how to eat this way. First off, I had never before in my life eaten that much meat at a time. And I had to get over the block that I just eat meat, and if I'm hungry, eat more meat. And that's different. It takes a shift to get over that. But once I did, it was easy, and that was one of the easier ones to come to get over. I think in the beginning, when you first transition, you're supposed to just eat until you're not hungry anymore. You're supposed to eat to satiation, and that takes some experimenting because you don't know what that's like. It's not a normal habit. And so I ate a lot, and I just eat till I wasn't hungry, and then found that I could go for a while without eating. And eventually, well, about 2 weeks in, I think, after I'd quit eating anything but meat, I lost all my cravings for sweet stuff. And so I could walk in the grocery store and walk by the bakery aisle, and I wasn't even tempted anymore. I didn't want that stuff because I felt really good eating meat. And that was a revelation because a little bag of cookies at the checkout register as you go always got me. And I was always good at picking up a little bag of cookies on the way home. And this was the first time I didn't feel that compunction to do that. Another habit that was going. And since then, I really have not had to worry about fighting the urge to indulge in sweet stuff.
That's a good feeling, that sense of freedom.
It is. Well, I think that the carnivore diet, more than anything, gives you a feeling of freedom from food. As I got into it, I mean, I intermittent fast pretty much every day now. I eat once a day and go 24 hours, 23 hours without food. And I don't even have to think about food. I don't have to think about what am I going to eat, or I'm hungry, I wish I would do something.
So you're eating OMAD. You're eating one time a day? No?
Yeah, I'm eating OMAD now. I have been for probably nearly a year.
So you switched to one meal a day pretty quickly then?
Well, probably about 6 weeks in, mainly because I had started this, and I'd lost a little bit of weight right as I first got in. I started feeling really good, but it really still wasn't losing weight. I had been trying for nearly a year at that point, or a little bit over a year at that point, to get below 200 pounds and had not managed it. I was still hovering around 218, 220 or something, and just couldn't get much below that. And I thought, well, changing all this up, I ought to lose weight somehow. But then I eventually came across Kelly Hogan and read her story and said, yeah, you're not going to lose weight right at the beginning, tons of weight. You have to heal your body and get healthy, and then stuff will start to come off. But I found that, you know, the idea of eating only when you're hungry and not eating out of habit or eating at traditional meal times was interesting, because I found myself fairly easily able to go most of the day without eating.
That's great.
2 meals a day, and then read up a little bit more on fasting and intermittent fasting and some of this stuff here, and said, well, what if I only did 1 meal a day? And so I tried that, and it, more than anything, fasting or intermittent fasting is a mind game. It's your mind learning different habits and what it's grown up with. Because
but then the carnivore diet makes that possible, because then your mind is not aflame with
your mind's not distracted by hunger pangs, right? Because the carnivore diet, you eat meat and you're satisfied and you're just not hungry. And so when you resist the urge to eat habitually, you're not hungry. You're not eating because of hunger. You're eating because it's lunchtime.
Yeah.
But the neat thing is that when you can get up in the morning and start working and work through breakfast and through lunch and through supper time and not lose energy and not think about food at all until 8 or 9 o'clock, you get home and clean up, and then you can eat your meal, and you're done. I mean, that's it. And
That's good.
it's pretty amazing and incredibly freeing.
That sounds good. Do you drink coffee?
I never learned to drink coffee. I never did. So, no, I don't drink coffee, although I have been, I have a friend from Azerbaijan that I've been spending time with, and tea is a big thing. So I've been drinking some tea lately, which is interesting, but never drank coffee. And so I don't drink coffee and drink water. I did eventually buy a, well, I can't think of the name of it. I bought one of those little fizz machines that makes sparkling water.
Oh yeah,
for me now.
Soda Stream.
So Soda Stream, there we go.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, those are
I
great.
got one of those. I turned out, I checked my budget, and I was spending a lot of money on carbonated water, and I said, if I invested in this, it would be a good return on investment. So,
Yeah, good idea. So what do you eat now? What's your typical meal?
well, I've fluctuated a bit right now. Right now, I am saving money to build a house, so I cut my budget down as far as I could, and I quit. For a while now, I was having fun. I'd buy Costco 2-inch steaks and one of those every night.
Can you repeat that again? What you're eating? Can you repeat that again, David? Because the something happened to the audio. Repeat again, just what you're eating.
Oh, well, what I'm eating now, because I'm cutting my budget, is I'm eating the cheapest hamburger with some decent bacon. So I eat probably 4 to 6-inch hamburger patties every evening, and a couple strips of bacon, or a pound, half a pound of bacon or so, a little bit of cheese, and that's about it. But you can get a hamburger at, I think Walmart has the cheapest hamburger I found at $1.99 a pound in these big 10-pound tubes, and that's about it. I mean, I am spending far less money now eating the way that I do than I ever did.
You look great. How do you feel?
Well, I feel pretty fantastic. Most of my aches and pains have gone away. I have started to change my workout routine a little bit. Got an X3 system, so I do resistance bands workouts, 10-15 minutes every morning, and I'm putting a little bit of mass back on, not looking quite as emaciated as I once did. I had people worrying I was getting too thin.
How much did you lose? How much weight have you lost?
I've lost about 70 pounds.
Oh.
I went from around 240 down to about 180 now. I think I could probably lose a little more. There's still a little bit of fat around my midsection I'd like to get rid of. But I need to put on some mass at the same time so I don't look like I'm emaciated. So I'm succeeding in doing that, and it's working quite nicely.
Sounds good. So it doesn't sound like you had any really adaptive struggles to the diet. It sounds like it went pretty smooth for you.
It went generally smooth. I do think that there were some bathroom habits it took some getting used to. And of course, I had, in the first week or so, there was a few days of diarrhea that were unpleasant, where things just didn't, well, I planned specifically for a time when I'd be home for a week, because I knew that was coming. And apparently I hadn't learned about electrolytes at that time, which can mitigate that problem. I did notice, though, within a month that my digestion worked much better. I never had I was no longer bloated after a meal, and used to get bloated significantly after eating a meal. You just kind of swell up and not want to do anything for a couple hours.
Yeah.
And now I can eat 2 or 3 pounds of beef and have no bloating at all, and just feel great. I can get back to it and do whatever I need to do after eating.
That's great. So how much bacon do you eat with those burgers? You said you ate bacon and burgers?
Well, it depends on how I'm feeling. maybe half a pound, or however many strips will fit in my air fryer. So it's about 8 or 10 strips of bacon at a time, I guess.
Very good. And you say you are using electrolytes now, or what do you use? Salt, or
when I salt my food to taste, basically. And if I do I'll occasionally do an extended fast of 3 or 4 days, and I have some element electrolytes. I'll drink some of those in the morning on fasting days. Seem to help.
So you do a 3 or 4 day fast occasionally?
Occasionally. I've played around with fasting, mainly when I get frustrated. If I step on the scale and get frustrated because it looks like I'm losing weight again, sometimes I'll fast a few days just to change the scale, which probably is not exactly the right way to do that. But
well, how is that fast for you? How's the second day on the fast, for instance?
Well, the first time, it was a struggle mentally. I wasn't hungry, and really the second day is not much different. I mean, you just do your typical intermittent fasting, only you don't eat your meal in the evening, go to bed.
Yeah, you just have a regular day. You just don't eat the meal.
In the morning, exactly. The next day is pretty much the same. But I find if I go a third day and don't take any electrolytes, I'll start to drag a little bit. And I have found that it's difficult to fast on days that I am doing hard manual labor. If I'm have a job where I'm tearing things up all day and working really hard all day, I really want to eat something when I get home.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does.
Have you had a chance to use MeatRx for support or anything?
Well,
like that?
I followed along as MeatRx was coming into existence. I've been following ShawnBaker for quite a while, and I thought really seriously about signing up to become a coach. But then I looked, I just don't have the time to devote to that at all, and so didn't pursue that. But it looked like a good idea. And other than that, I didn't feel like I really needed support. I have been looking at it though, because they have guides on fasting and getting ripped, which look very interesting. So I think I'm going to sign up for a membership.
No, good. I mean, support's a nice. Sounds like you're doing great. Just sounds like you're just steady on and doing all the right things, and it's working for you, and you've lost all that weight, and you're feeling good, and you're building a house, and you're working with the X3 bar.
Yeah,
very nice.
So all of those things are working well, and life's a continual process. You get a little better every day and learn new things. And your good health is a good example. It's just a great inspiration for people. So thank you for that. What would you say to what would you have to say to someone who is considering the carnivore diet for weight loss or aches and pains? Well, I think that I've told a number of people like this, and have actually influenced a couple of people to give it a try. Basically, 30 days is not going to hurt you. Give it a try and see how you like it, because testing anything is a proof. Anything you want to change, you should try it out for 30 days and see what it's going to do to you. And if you do the carnivore diet for 30 days, you're going to feel a whole lot better by the end of those 30 days if you're doing it right. So the thing to remember when you're starting is eat a lot of meat. You're going to eat more meat than you've ever considered eating. And it's going to be weird, but it's going to taste good, and it's going to make you feel great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good words. Good advice. Sounds like it's working.
Well, it seems to be working. I got to the end of my 30 days and figured there wasn't any point trying something else. It seemed to work, and it felt good. And
yeah.
It has proven to be so. So
feeling good is really a good feeling.
It's a wonderful feeling to feel good. Particularly, I was starting to not feel so good getting older. I thought, old age is not going to be fun. But now I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to get old, and so I'm just going to resist it. And it feels
Very
great.
good. Thank you, David. Thanks for taking
Sure.
the time, sharing your story with us.
Oh, sure. Glad to do it.